I'm in total shock. I cannot believe it. The same people calling everyone ists and phobes for liking the look of Stellar Blade, seeing Eve and thinking, yeah, cool, this looks pretty good. Those same people saying that you've got a warped view of women if you enjoy all of that, they've been exposed as hypocrites. I'm so shocked. And this has all come about because of Hades 2. So a month ago, all that discourse with Stellar Blade, it was very interesting because a lot of people who call themselves progressives, they bang on about how women should be able to express themselves, they kind of went back to the dark ages. They started talking about conservative clothing, of course, the male gaze, and if there's an exposed ankle, that needs to be covered up. That needs to go away. So those people, it was kind of surprising to hear them say things like that. They see, for instance, this screenshot of Hades 2, and suddenly they're the ones drooling from the mouth. Now it's okay to be in love, to be aroused because of a video game character. So this is Alyssa McCant, who was one of the leaders against Stellar Blade, who was basically saying feminism is dead. Doesn't matter that this person used to be a cam model on adult websites. That's all totally fine. But no, feminism is going to die because of a video game that predominantly men seem to be interested in. And she has a post here where she says, "Mummy, sorry," referring to a character from Hades 2, who she seems to be interested in a sexual sense. Now, to give a little bit more context here, Hades 2, you may have heard of the first Hades. It was a roguelike. I never got too far into it. Roguelikes, I mean, I normally like games with a beginning, middle, and end, so I don't get too much into these roguelikes, but it was critically acclaimed. Some people seem to like it, but the more I hear about Hades 2, the less interested I am. The studio is from San Francisco, and they seem to be doing what some may call the right things. They're focused on diversity first. They've talked about how in this game, they want to focus on lots of different body representation. So even though it's about gods, you have, for instance, a god in a wheelchair, wandering around in a wheelchair. That makes sense, doesn't it, in your fantasy game? And that apparently is meant to be representing people. You have, of course, fat gods, no gender gods, trans gods. Just about everyone gets a little character in there. And because it's doing these things, it's all okay. They don't have to follow the same rules as supposedly Stellar Blade has to. You can have almost nude characters in the game. They're showing off all of their bodies. That's all fine because they're pushing the message. They've got the right agenda. It actually feels a little bit like racism to me because it always seems like when it's, say, a studio from outside of the West, for instance, Stellar Blade, made by an Asian studio, I think they might be Korean, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, even Final Fantasy Rebirth with Tifa and Aerith, who have some revealing outfits. These people melt down about those. They go insane. The male gaze, we can't have this. But it always seems to be non-Western studios. When it's a Western studio that has characters where there's barely any room for the imagination when it comes to their bodies, that's all fine. There's excuses, mate. Not even excuses. These people, they simp for them, basically. They start, again, drooling at the mouth. They're super excited about it. And of course, Alyssa, who is front and center with the Stellar Blade stuff, she's going all in on the hypocrisy. And they do this a lot where they think if they present some sort of long-winded, weird argument about it, it makes it all okay. I don't care what you've got to say about it. It's all a big word salad. You're a hypocrite, and the only reason you're doing this is because the studio, they share the same worldview as you. You expose yourself for who you really are. Every second post on your Twitter, it seems to be some sort of sexual innuendo. It's not even subtle. Half the time you brag about having sex and having a partner, which is odd to me because what are men so repulsed by you or have been for so long that now that you've found someone, you've got to keep talking about it? It's really weird. And what she says here about Hades 2, Aphrodite is the goddess of sexual love and beauty. Part of her character is how she looks, how stupid, dummy, hot she is. It's the point. And that's the difference between this and some other depictions of hot women. There's a purpose. I'm not seeing the purpose. All I'm seeing is you've got some weird justification for why it's okay that this video game character is attractive, and another one in a game you don't like from probably a country you don't like or something, because there does seem to be some racism involved from you, you've got some justification for it always. You can do this for anything. You can have some long-winded sentence to justify it. I can do it with Stellar Blade. Anyone can. But if we do, you're just going to say that we're wrong, and you'll say, no, you're an hysterophobe. But when you do it, it's apparently okay. I could have some level of respect if you looked at this and went, you know what, this is another Stellar Blade. We can't have this. Women should be wearing conservative clothing. They should be going to church or something. If you were saying that, at least you'd be consistent in your views. But you're not. You don't care about any of that. You don't care about what women are wearing or not. You just will use any argument possible to discredit a game that you don't like in Stellar Blade and discredit the fans. The fans is what it's really about. These people do not care about the game. They couldn't give a toss really about representation. The second it's inconvenient for them, suddenly they don't care anymore. Their morals, their ideals, they go out the window. But because they have bitter hatred for your average gamer who just wants to enjoy a game, be entertained without Western identity politics being shoved down their throat, they'll find anything they possibly can to shit on them. And for Stellar Blade, they use the argument of, oh my goodness, look at this Eve woman. The only reason people like this character is because they're prawn-obsessed, they're addicted online, they're basement dwellers. This is what they do all day is look at these women and sexualize them. It's horrible. But when it's them, oh, suddenly it's all a big bit of fun. I mean, we saw that as well with like Resident Evil 8. Who is it, like that huge tall women and all these same people were like, step on me, queen, please. All that stuff's okay. That's not weird at all. But you just want to play a game like Stellar Blade that's entertainment first, attractive character, and I mean, the whole thing, I reckon, with Eve, it's not necessarily that the character's hot. I mean, that's part of it, but it's not everything. It's just that you look at this character and you go, you know what? If a game's being made with this person in it, I know it's not going to be a game lecturing to me and world views and all of that sort of crap. I can just look at this and know it's not going to be any of that. Because the people who care about that crap, they wouldn't allow this. So therefore, I'm on board with this game. That's how I kind of feel about it. It's not, oh my goodness, I'm in love with this character. If you want to do that, whatever. But I really don't think that's what it is all about. And again, the hypocrisy. This was less than a month ago. This same person who is loving Hades 2, talking about all sexual this, sexual that. Here's what they had to say about Stellar Blade. They want their women to be virtually silent, overly sexualized dolls in video games that they can jerk off to without having to wash their ass or clip their nails or show even a single attractive quality. There feels like a bit of projection here where this woman was unable in her lifetime to find a guy who was able to keep their behind clean, that she's frustrated. She just has a real hatred for men and she can't stand it. She's letting everyone know about it. I don't even really know who she was arguing with this, because I don't remember anyone saying, I want Eve to shut up, show me her backside, and that's it for the entire game. I don't want to hear her speak. I don't want any story here. I just want her to be a sex doll. She claims that's what everyone wants. They always have to go to this huge extreme. There can't be any nuance whatsoever. And the very creepy thing about all of this, because it's one thing to pick on Alyssa and go, look, she's a hypocrite, but it's not just her. It is literally everyone in this space. It feels like there was a psyop, because if you type in Hades 2 into Google and look at all the pathetic gaming outlets, the PC gamers, the Kotakus, the Polygons, you're gonna see this. Hades 2's technical test shows us that the Greek gods are still super hot, and by Poseidon, some of you could use a cold shower. Somehow Hades 2's new character artist left fans even hornier than the first game, and you can't really blame them. Good old Polygon. I feel icky being on this website. Hades 2 gods somehow even hotter than the first Hades gods. The fans, they thirst. And good old Kotaku, this is Alyssa's article, by the way, so she's penned this masterpiece. Hades 2 is the kind of hot we need right now. So the theme here is that every single article by every single publication is totally praising Hades 2. Not even the game, just the visuals. And oh, there's hot characters. That's simp, everyone. It's apparently totally socially acceptable now because it's Hades 2. It's a game by a Western studio, by a San Francisco-based team who's pushing the message. An example of this, I mentioned the wheelchair god. I was not exaggerating. Let's have a look. You can't see all of it, but this is a god in a wheelchair, overweight as well, just for some extra points. And this is apparently peak fantasy. Now, before you call me a phobe or whatever, I have family members, direct family members who've worked with people with disabilities for decades. If they saw this, they would laugh at it just as much and they would call it absolutely pathetic. That is what this is. It's totally stupid, and I can guarantee you that no one with a disability was actually pushing for this. It's people outside who want to virtue signal and get points by saying, oh no, we need to put this in there. If you don't put that in there, you're extremely evil. They just want to dictate to people and they want to have their demands met because it makes them feel powerful or something. It's extremely weird. A person of color as well, they're really ticking all the boxes here. It's not cringe at all. But forgetting Hades 2 itself, it's just totally weird how all these articles come out at the same time praising this specific point. The nudity in the game, or close to nudity, and this is all fine. But when it was Stellar Blade, article after article about, oh, feminism's gonna die, guys. Oh, this is awful. These gamers TM getting involved in this, they need to be shunned. We need to get them out of the space. We need to change the world, as Sweet Baby Inc. would say. As I said, I might not be the target audience for Hades 2. Maybe some people are happy enough with it because of the gameplay and they'll enjoy it. But I've got to say, from my perspective, I really hope that Stellar Blade runs rings around it. It sells far more copies because it is focused on entertainment first and foremost, whereas Hades 2, it should be about gods kicking ass. Instead, it's about body representation, diversity. That seems to be where the devs' priorities lie. Again, the critics of Stellar Blade, they've shown themselves to be hypocrites, no real ideals when it comes down to it, and it's another big L for them. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers. Bye.